Thank you very much, Narayan Prabhu Manjari, for attending our Sunday Ishtagosti live Zoom meeting. I'd like to thank all the devotees for watching. So I just want to make a comment here with an observation with talking to various Srila Prabhupada disciples. I'll just mention some names off here. Narayan Prabhu, yourself. Who else is there? Rupanuga, Yashoda Nandana, Vishwakarma. Who's that? What's that guy? Guru Kripa. So some of these devotees, like Guru Kripa, Rupanuga to some extent, and you can say Bashu Ghosh also, they think Prabhupada is a guru of the past. Okay, Prabhupada appeared, now he has, his manifest Leela is over. Some of them don't even think that you can take shelter of Srila Prabhupada's books and the sound vibration emanating from the books and Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada said, didn't he? I will live forever in my books. You will read and utilize.
Yeah. So it's very...
So that means they are dead meat. I mean, wait. And also, how do we say that Prabhupada is a guru from the past when we can consider that he's a Uttama Adhikari who is transparent via media for Krishna, wrote all these books? Why are we saying that Vaishnavas die?
Yeah.
He reasons ill who say Vaishnavas die when thou art living, still, and sound.
Yeah.
I think, they're just very much stuck in their Catholic Church mentality.
Yeah. So I asked this question to Guru Kripa. This is not a question from the past, meaning this is a new question. I asked Guru Kripa, does Guru Kripa recommend taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada's sound vibration, letters, books, and conversations? And here is what he has to say.
That is not my recommendation. I don't think you understand what surrender is. Srila Prabhupada had many disciples, and when he would tell them, you go to this country, you go do that, they could not possibly do it. They couldn't surrender to that. And they'd say, I can't do this. And some of them would run away or go hide. So one must be trained up personally, just as you. One must be trained up. To live or to serve under Srila Prabhupada was not easy. He's a person, and you need a person to do it. You can't do it by yourself. I will surrender. What does that mean? When one was with Srila Prabhupada or under those directly Srila Prabhupada controlled, it wasn't so easy. He would see the faults in the person. One would find faults in Srila Prabhupada, although they weren't there, but it would appear that way. You need to be trained up. And in this way, you can progress. Srila Prabhupada was very difficult to be around for most people. So don't think I would just surrender. What does that mean? You should find somebody to train you up, even though he may not be perfect. But if he's more elevated than you, he can help you move to the next step. This is very...
But who's going to help him
stuck on this whole thing, the ISKCON.
What did you say?
Oh, and who's going to help him move to the next step?
That's a good question. Okay, let me just finish this and then we'll have a discussion, Prabhu. One second.
One and all, everything is in ISKCON. That's a disease. Gaudiya Vaishnavism has been there. Thousands of branches of the tree of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And yet, this ISKCON, these few cheaters, you're stuck on that. Once you move past that, ISKCON is not all in all. It's just an institution with some buildings and people struggling to, mostly neophytes. So what I can say, you have to search it out, like I said, up to the point that you have a desire to have it. One may have to go all over the universe to look for such a person, if you want to have that. And then when you have it, then you'd still have to sit down and do your sadhana. You have to serve. You have to, gradually conquer your anarthas. So it's a long process, and it takes a lot of determination. And you're talking about, I want to find directly Srila Prabhupada. You won't move very quickly in this way. You need help. We all need help. Hare Krishna. I got a chant there.
Okay, so there you go. That is Guru KRIPA Prabhu, who joined Srila Prabhupada, I think in about 1970 or 71. So you can see here his understanding about Srila Prabhupada. He's basically saying that Prabhupada appeared at one time. He wrote all the wonderful books. He gave all the videos, lectures, conversations, directions. But now you need to search out someone else who is an Uttama Adhikari. You see where he's leading, Rupert? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who is or is not an Uttama Adhikari?
Who is an Uttama Adhikari. Even
he has one up his sleeve?
No, he doesn't. He said you have to go over the universe and find one.
And he said ISKCON's just an institution of buildings and
Yes.
people.
Yeah, right.
But who created ISKCON?
Srila Prabhupada created ISKCON, but Srila Prabhupada is gone now. And now you need a so-called living guru. So Prabhupada's books are useless. His instructions are useless.
But he mentioned that the living guru has to be more advanced than I am.
Yes.
But
He mentioned.
But who is more advanced than that guru? How far can you go under the insufficient guidance of one of these insufficient gurus?
Yeah. So my point here of sharing this audio is that, Guru KRIPA being a wonderful devotee and initiated by Srila Prabhupada, but look at it now. He's portraying Srila Prabhupada as some ordinary person who appeared, 50, something years ago. Now it's 1977. He passed away, so he's no longer available to.
But the question is that Prabhupada made it clear that he was available.
Yes.
Will live forever in my books and you will utilize.
Right.
Where is the part that's not available?
Yeah. So
I'm not making that up. I'm not fantasizing. I'm not deciding, I want to pretend that Prabhupada's still alive. He said. And also, if Prabhupada is an Uttama Adhikari, how do we understand that the Uttama Adhikari can actually die?
Yeah.
The Uttama Adhikari is on the same level as Krishna. So if Krishna sent Prabhupada down, at what point did Krishna say to Prabhupada, get out of the way? These guys are mean, horrible sons of bitches, better get away. I don't think he did.
Yeah.
The GBC took it upon themselves to kill him. They took it upon themselves to not follow the direction of management. They took it upon themselves to create a global ISKCON rather than individual temple ISKCONs.
And to change his books.
Huh?
And to change his books.
Yeah. So they took it upon themselves to try to remove Prabhupada, but is it possible to remove Prabhupada? That is the biggest question before us for the golden age of Kali. Can Prabhupada be killed?
Absolutely not.
I would say you're right.
Yeah.
He reasons ill who say Vaishnavas die.
Right.
And he lives in sound in his books, but he lives in sound in his kirtans and his lectures also.
Right. Okay.
So the only thing is that if a person screws up their relationship with Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada enters Samadhi, then it's easy enough for them to say, oh yeah, it's too late, it's all over. We have to find somebody who can help us a little bit. But is that true? I contend that's not true.
That's not true.
No, we're not looking for someone to help us a little bit. We're looking for, why don't we just say, if
Perfection.
Prabhupada could descend, the real question is, did Srila Prabhupada descend from Krishna Loka as Lord Chaitanya's, as Lord Krishna's transparent via medium?
Absolutely.
If he did, then which of us has the power to say that he can be erased or exited or ended
Or silenced.
or silenced?
Yeah.
None of us.
It would seem so none of us.
It's totally absurd that how these people's, being, you can see, even though they rendered some, amazing service to Srila Prabhupada, their understanding of Srila Prabhupada is very, 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 very low class.
Rudimentary.
Limited.
Very limited, very
And
low
on
class.
top of that, not only limited, but self-defeating.
Yeah. Right.
In other words, what happens to Guru Kripa when he dies?
Mm.
What happens to all of his bhakti? Oh, I died, and now you guys got to go scrambling around in the dark by yourselves.
Yeah.
Where's the open portfolio for tomorrow, for ISKCON to be developed tomorrow? Now, I would really like to understand from the Vaishnava point of view, can Prabhupada's chanting be considered not to be spiritual? And therefore, when we hear Prabhupada chanting, is this transcendental? Is he alive in that chanting? Or is it just some recording of an old guy that did some recordings? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't they consider that Prabhupada's sound vibration is as transcendental now as when he originally chanted it?
Try. Yeah, that's the actual fact.
Yeah, Guru Kripa and Yasodhananda.
No, Yashodanandana, for example, he does not share the same idea. So you're putting him together in what sense?
Well, I'm putting him together in the sense that back in 1970s, they came over to my place where I was living with Jai Tirtha, and they were all completely stoked on South Indian bhajans. They were taken up with the other sampradayas.
Okay.
And that's what they wanted. So they chanted their own special kirtans.
Okay.
That's my point. Maybe they're not in the same boat now, but they were definitely in the same boat then. They used to hang out together and travel around together. They're inseparable together.
Okay.
Okay, look, keep going.
So I just want an observation here. We have someone named Jagannath Das. So if they can introduce themselves, where are they coming from?
Hello, can you hear
Hare
me?
Krishna. Yes, we can hear you, Prabhu.
Haribol.
I'm from Minnesota, USA.
Oh, excellent. So how did you hear about our Zoom meetings and what you like and don't like about it?
I watched your stuff on YouTube. I really liked it because of all the shit I've been seeing in the GBC. But yeah, I've just been watching your YouTubes every once in a while, and it's nice to join live one of these times.
Excellent. So Who's the king of Minnesota? Which of these gurus?
I have no idea. I think the closest one is a guy in Chicago, but I have no idea. I'm not part of any temple.
Oh,
Too
you're
far
not?
away.
Okay. So,
But I'm-
how did you get in contact with Srila Prabhupada? Did you read his books, or someone gave you some, a prasadam? What made you attracted to Krishna consciousness?
First time I saw Krishna consciousness, I was younger. I was in university, and I saw them chanting. I had no idea what they were. I thought it was extremely weird, and I never thought about it for a really long time. And then I used to be a cannabis smoker, and I was later in my life, maybe 4 years ago, I was smoking cannabis on the lake, and I just felt extremely attracted to this sound, and I started walking towards it, and it was some Hare Krishna people chanting, and they handed me a book, and I almost started crying, and yeah, that started me on my journey.
Wow.
Consciousness. You see, that's what Lord Chaitanya means by no hard and fast rule. Here's Jagannath Das. He comes there, he's given a book, but he's smoking cannabis with one hand, reading a book with the other. He is able to make the distinction by the grace of Lord Chaitanya. That's what no hard and fast rule means. It means that a cannabis smoker normally cannot chant Hare Krishna in the Vedic culture. But Lord Chaitanya said there are no hard and fast rules. And that doesn't mean you can chant any melody you like. It means that you, Jagannath Das, can pick up Krishna consciousness and take to it as you have.
Yeah, I was pretty fallen, but I think I was a Shiva devotee at the time. I had Rudraksha and everything, so I feel like that kind of lifted me up to a platform where I could receive this.
Well, welcome to the platform of spiritual life. All right, well, now, Prabhu, Jagannath Das, don't you have a picture, a Krishna conscious picture in the background there?
No, this is a painting a friend gave from a wedding.
Okay.
You
add Krishna to be a beautiful Krishna conscious picture.
Wow. So that's your journey, huh? It's very interesting. That. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
33.
Oh, 33. Ah, okay. So we're about the same age. I'm 38. So not too far. Oh, Jai, that is
having you on.
That is Mayapur, right? Yeah.
I think that's Vrindavan.
Oh, you have Gaurnitai deities. Wow, wonderful.
Beautiful deities.
And you have Srila Prabhupada, right?
Birthday of Srila Prabhupada.
Wow. This is a temple, huh? Excellent.
This is temporary. I'm trying to make a real one right now.
That is the real one. Wow, welcome to the program, Prabhu. It's nice to have you. You can
absolutely
ask any questions you like. And
every time I meet someone like you, Jagannath Prabhu, I feel humbled. Because I understand what it takes to go through, what you have to go through to get to where you are now.
Try.
Yeah, I do have one. I do have one topic that's been on my mind for a long time.
Sure.
And I want to say thank you too to you guys, the association, and being able to talk with you and hear you.
Excellent.
The question I have is the shape of the earth. I'm just really confused. I've been reading the fifth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I know they're making that temple in the Mayapur, that planetarium, and I'm just really confused. Like, what is the shape of the earth? Where are we? I know, like, there's a lot of flat earthers now on YouTube. I don't know if I'm that, but I'm just confused, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm not an expert in fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I think Narayan Prabhu is also not an expert, but there is a devotee named Sadaputa Prabhu. He has done a lot of research into this creation, and he talks about this flat earth and this and that. So Sadaputa Prabhu, send me your email address or your phone number, and I'll send you the link so you can check him out. You know, I'm not expert
great.
in fifth canto, so sorry.
Thank you.
I'm a flat earther.
Huh?
I'm a flat earther. I believe the earth is flat.
Okay.
Nice to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll send you the links, and then you can research and tell us.
Okay, will do.
Okay. So just message me your email and phone number, Prabhu, in the chat when you get a chance, or just message me on our WhatsApp group. Now, Narayan Prabhu, you have anything to say?
No, I was very, very pleased to meet him. Let's keep on going with our program. It sounds great.
Okay. All right. So let's continue our program. Okay, got it. Here, let me save that. Okay.
I'm coming on.
Yeah, someone also joined. Give me 1 second here. Let me save Prabhu's email address. Who was this? There's another person joining here. His name is Prabhu. Can you introduce yourself? Now.
My name is Buju Martino.
Okay.
Call me Mark for short.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I'm using a very old phone, so there might be problems, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of like static and echoey, your voice. So maybe you can give an introduction about yourself. We can try to figure it out as you speak.
There's not much way to introduce myself, you know. I don't know what to say, to be honest, Prabhuji. I'm not initiated. I'm looking to be initiated to Srila Prabhupada. What else? I've been coming to different ISKCON temples or trying to sort of get hooked onto Krishna consciousness for years. I got my first Bhagavad Gita when I was a teenager. My own father gave it to me. That's it pretty much, you know. I'm not sure what to say.
And how did you come in contact with the Zoom meetings? Do you watch us live or how?
I've been on through Facebook. Facebook makes some things on YouTube as well. So what is very often comments, you know, I read people's comments and you know, Krishna consciousness world seems to be so divided. For someone, for a Bhakti neophyte like myself, it's difficult to figure out which way I should go. Prabhupada says, surrender by intelligence, don't surrender your intelligence. So, you know, it takes time. So I keep reading people's comments, who's going which direction, and if I like them, I'm sort of trying to stick to these people rather, you know. So I remember your profile, also Nathan Zakhaim, Narayana Prabhuji. So yes, and I think I read on your profile about your meetings.
What country are you in?
At the moment, I'm in India, in Vrindavan, actually.
Oh, you're in Vrindavan. Ah.
Yes, but I come from Poland. I was born and raised in Poland, if that's what you were asking.
You were born in Poland. Acha. Okay. Wow. How old are you, Prabhu? How old is the body?
My physical body is 46 years of age.
Oh, what is your mother tongue? Is it English or Polish language or what language?
Polish. English is my second language.
Oh, acha. Well, Prabhu, you have my email address and my Facebook Messenger. You have Narayan Prabhu's, information. So you can contact us anytime you like regarding any questions, comments, or anything else. And,
Brilliant. Really appreciate it.
No problem. You're welcome, Prabhu. So let's get the program going, Narayan Prabhu. Let's start the reading.
Didn't you have more comments like from Yasoda and Rupanuga and stuff like that?
No, that's it. So I just wanted to make that comment public so people can see.
Very good.
Even
well, you know, he's very sincere, but that to take into account, it's like a auto mechanic. Understands things differently than a philosophy professor does.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very, very, how can I say, disturbing to me when these Prabhupada disciples make Prabhupada as a figure of the past. It's very offensive to even think that, he appeared this time and now he's gone and you need a living guru and, you need to go search one out, when everything is very clearly put in his books, and then the whole training is available at an ISKCON temple. Maybe some things have been changed, but,
But basically you can get there with
Yeah.
what there is. We have everything you need.
Yeah.
But what will be the next stage? You need a living guru. And now what if you need a living Krishna?
Yeah.
Krishna lived 5,000 years ago. He couldn't possibly be still alive now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what, the way Guru Kripa is going towards, that's what he's saying actually.
You need a living Krishna also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, all do, don't we? And he's alive.
Yes.
Yeah, I have great respect for Guru Kripa, but at the same time, we shouldn't make such completely basic mistakes.
Yeah. Basic mistakes. Right. Right.
Yeah, they said that's a basic mistake to consider that that the spiritual master is dead when thou art living still and sound.
Yeah.
Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the whole of life around. Where is that part? Why do you need some little guy with a half-baked understanding to clue you into something that he is not even clued into himself? You want a little guru guy who doesn't know any more than most people do. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so let's get going. If anyone has any questions, feel free to just unmute themselves and speak. We'll stop immediately and address your concerns or your comments or your realizations.
I like that.
Okay, this is the document that we'll be reading. It was composed by Narayan Prabhu, and then we'll go step by step reading it. So if anyone wants to comment, please stop.
This is your page.
This is the whole thing that you have written. So we're gonna go.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So let's start reading. Rupa Manjari Prabhu, can you read, Prabhu?
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
No matter how many bogus gurus sit themselves on the holy seat of Vyas, they will send out kirtan for a price and will help deliver this fallen souls in a very minimal way. And for that, we thank them. This system of bogus gurus will not survive years, what to speak of decades. It is truly mind-boggling to imagine what they think ISKCON will be like in 500 years. Considering that they can be barely keep afloat in our present years and the beginnings to decades. They are not pure devotees, and for that reason, they will not be able to fully deliver their initiates. And when they die, they must deal with the number of human karmas they have taken on, with little or no ability to transfer this karma back to home, back to Godhead. Why does Srila Prabhupada not take on the karma of those that they initiate as he did when he personally performed initiations or authorized initiations to be held in his behalf by officiating
1 second, Rupa, I'm going down. Here we go.
acharyas who performed initiations for the bulk of his more than 5,000 disciples by the time he entered Samadhi? What about the bogus gurus who have fallen down due to having taken on the karma of so many lifetimes of those who they initiate? They accepted the full karma of dozens or even hundreds, and in some cases thousands of disciples, without being able to fully transfer the karma of their initiates. Rohini Kumar, who was a strict brahmachari, who I knew from 1968 in the New York temple, we became friends, and I followed his interesting trajectory into temples as a brahmachari over several years. When he became an ISKCON bogus guru, he was so sincere and transcendentally loving. He alone practically proved that the new bogus guru system was working. Then he began to initiate homosexual disciples and also began to take on their full life's karma. After a few years, he was fully transformed into a homosexual, having been saturated by homosexuality by his disciples.
1 second.
With whom his usual sensitive nature had attracted them, and he gave them freedom from their former homosexual karma. But being a bogus guru, he was not able to transfer their several dozens of homosexual life experiences that he took on to become their guru and to deliver them from repeated birth and death. He took on their karma, all right, but he could not transfer it up the disciplic succession to free himself from the karma that he took on.
Okay, so to the discussion of Rohini Kumar Prabhu, he was an appointed ISKCON guru, and then he took on sins, meaning he became a Diksha guru, and then he took on the sins of his disciples, and later on he himself became a homosexual. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah.
I think there's more.
He was a
Okay.
homosexual from the beginning, maybe? Who knows?
No, well, who knows what he was? He was celibate when he was 18 years old. I
Okay.
don't think he had had any homosexual experience. He didn't act like it. He didn't act swishy or anything. He just acted very sensitive.
Right.
And he went into taking on the karma of the homosexuals. They were attracted to him because he was so sensitive. So he took on their karma because he felt he should give them initiation, which on a normal playing field, if he were Prabhupada, it would be true.
Right.
It was horrible to watch. What is there? Okay.
Okay, so let's continue. Rupa, can you, or should I read?
You can read.
Okay, so he became a classic homosexual, left ISKCON, and joined a group almost exactly like the group famous for a song that they created. I saw photos of him with homosexual tattoos on his arms and body, and of course, no sign of a japa bag or neck beads anywhere to be seen. He was my beloved friend, and he was truly naturally asexual. I mentioned his case because it is clearly easier to understand due to his initial purity. Okay,
You get the picture, right?
yeah. Okay, so now I can bring up two more cases, Bhagavan and Jay Tirtha. I worked closely with both of them in 1969. I worked with Bhagavan Das, married to his wonderful wife named Krishna, what is this?
Bhamani.
Bhamani, who was a medical student ready to start classes at the University of Michigan. I came to the Detroit temple, which was housed in a 4-story Victorian house at 74 Stewart Street in Detroit. He was brilliantly intelligent and quickly picked up how to run his Detroit temple. He went on, and the Detroit temple became exemplary to the whole movement. Then he became guru, abandoned his wife and 2 children to take sannyas, and in due time he became a bogus guru for ISKCON. He used his extraordinary karma to build up the French Center with palatial buildings, etc. But he took on all the karma of his disciples, and within a surprisingly few years abandoned his role as a bogus guru and ran off with another man's wife. Speaking with him years later, I could detect the karma of his fellow disciples practically directing his every move toward less than spiritual outcomes. Let's see. Had he continued to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions by serving as an officiating acharya for Srila Prabhupada, he could have remained in his well-earned palaces and places of glory, which would have been glorifying Srila Prabhupada instead of himself. So just to stop here and make some comments. You're talking about Bhagavan. He was a very good leader, right? And then his wife was also very nice, and he had 2 children.
Yes.
And then he had set up several wonderful temples, right? And then 1977, when they made him one of the original 11 or whatever they were, successor acharyas, he became a guru. He left his wife. And then a few years later, all the properties got bankrupt. And then he left the movement. Is that an accurate account?
Yes.
Anything you'd like to add, Prabhu?
No, I think it's everything I'm saying, unless somebody has a question, everything I'm saying is complete.
Okay. Anyone have any questions so far, Prabhus? We want to stop here.
And you can trade off with Rupa Manjari on reading too.
Yeah, she can continue from here.
I can read if you want.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. Yeah, excellent. We're going to start from here. 1 second. Yeah.
Okay. This is true of all the bogus gurus. Jayatirtha would never have fallen down if he had continued initiating as an officiating acharya for Srila Prabhupada. Tatsvarupa Swami became a helpless wreck, unable to even walk or move his neck without acute pain. He claims on tape that his cat is a pure devotee. Anyone taking initiation from Tamal will have to take on part of the karma for the murder of Srila Prabhupada. Jayapataka, his about 60,000 disciples who will have to take on part of the karma of his being taken part in the murder of Srila Prabhupada. What to speak of Bhavananda, who was directly involved with the daily poisoning of Srila Prabhupada, and others directly or indirectly involved with the murder of Srila Prabhupada.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Maybe continue if you can.
Mm-hmm. So how long will bogus gurus last? When they even start out descending from the legacy of having murdered Srila Prabhupada? Wouldn't it be so much simpler for the present bogus gurus to simply take on Srila Prabhupada's chosen form of officiating acharyas, which would enable all of those that they initiated to become actual initiated disciples of Srila Prabhupada? My vision for the future is based on the availability of pure Vedic Dharma descending directly from Krishna Loka. Searching for the source of such Dharma leads us to Sri Krishna's transparent via medium, who under Lord Krishna's personal representative created ISKCON, and then created so many transcendental kirtans that when heard and then repeated, reveal the glories of Krishna and Krishna Loka to anyone who takes up the process of hearing his transcendental sound vibration. By wearing headphones for direct, undistracted absorption, such hearers of the true Krishna Loka sound vibration, Shravanam, will then be able to hold temple kirtanam. That exactly duplicate the experience of hearing Srila Prabhupada directly. In fact, the separation of so many decades will give the hearing process a new life, as we did not listen to him very well when we chanted with him in 1968 and 1969. With each simple, sincere, and genuine devotee hearing as described above, when groups of these devotees would then go out in the streets playing his Aditala Mridanga.
1 second. Whoop. There we go.
Mridanga beats, learned from his recordings, kartal playing, dancing the heart-enhancing Swami step, we will see our austerity of learning by tape pay off, as our Sankirtan parties will flood the streets and parks loudly, with loudly rendered melodies brought straight from Krishna Loka via Srila Prabhupada's recorded voice. Imagine the effect of such condensed kirtan being released in the world of human society. So many college students and those who live aimlessly on the streets will follow us back to the temple as they did in 1968, 67, 68, 69, and our ISKCON temples will grow by possibly dozens of sincere neophytes over the space of a few months. That phenomenon outlined above, multiplied by dozens and increasingly more, temples will indeed re-establish the Hare Krishna explosion. The bogus gurus can continue their futile efforts that will be doomed in their lifetimes or even sooner. But our Srila Prabhupada-led Nagar Sankirtan effort with his own Krishna local melodies brought down by Lord Krishna himself for us to use endlessly over the next 10,000 years.
1 second.
How else can pure chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra be assured for even 500 years, what to speak of 10?
Okay, Jai. Yes, please continue, Prabhu, if you like.
Okay.
How about
5,000.
Rupa take a turn too?
Okay, Rupa, you can take a turn if you like.
5,000 years, what to speak of the full 10,000 years of the golden age of Kali. These bogus gurus are chanting mostly their own concocted melodies, but whoever listens to them will not get the connection to Krishna Loka that will result from humbly accepting headphones and then chanting exactly as heard on Srila Prabhupada's recording. It seems increasingly likely that Srila Prabhupada knew from the start that no one would emulate his exact kirtan style and that they would try to reestablish their own dominant zone with their own bogus kirtans. So he left his recordings for us to use for the next 10,000 years. We need to call on Elon Musk to create a recording capsule that will last for the entire length of the golden age of Kali. Did Srila Prabhupada know from the first that his recordings would someday be seen as the only direct means of reaching Krishna Loka, and by chanting these melodies exclusively, that the next 10,000 years will hear the descended sound vibration coming from Lord Krishna's Swarup down to Srila Prabhupada's mouth that directly open the door to Krishna Loka for all of us over the next 10,000 years? And what will happen to the present bogus guru's configuration? Well, it cannot help but fail. The bogus gurus cannot produce kirtans that will connect even the most sincere chanter with Krishna Loka. Instead of heroically trying to take on the karma of millions and millions of humans and other jivas, the bogus gurus should instead become officiating acharyas, transferring the karma of those they deliver to Srila Prabhupada. The resulting initiates will become Prabhupada disciples. But so what? They will go back to Godhead, and so will we. Why get stuck with the hellish outcome of the bogus guru process that will lead the bogus guru into the hell of the karma that he accepts from each and every person that he initiates, beyond foolish, beyond insane? Srila Prabhupada has given the benediction of officiating acharya, whereby each person initiates becomes a bona fide Srila Prabhupada disciple. Isn't that what you would wish for your family and friends? Think about it.
Excellent. Jai. Amazing.
I guess I have a comment.
Yes,
Just
Prabhu.
after hearing Elon Musk, and back to what I talked about before, a little off topic, the shape of the earth, but this temple in Mayapur, they're creating it right now, and I feel like if they create it wrong, it's like such a waste of money. Like Srila Prabhupada asked his disciples to research the fifth canto. Like he didn't even understand it completely. It's like that's what he maybe he did, but that's the impression he gave when he was speaking. But he said, research the fifth canto and understand it and make a model that works. And I feel like they might be making the wrong model there in Mayapur because of this poor leadership in the GBC.
Can you go sort of give me a clear idea of what you're saying? Because in 1971, Srila Prabhupada and I sat down and designed the Mayapur temple that he wanted. And I still have the drawings for it.
Mm-hmm. Just that the current
so what do you feel is going well?
Sorry, what? I don't know. Just since a lot of people, even
that they're doing is not what Prabhupada wanted.
Exactly. Yes. And I feel like if we did have a correct model of like what you're saying that you sat down and did with him, if we are able to create that and present that to the world, it would be another avenue for people to be attracted to this, if that makes sense.
If they could, but right now they're in the middle of that gigantic, hideous, post-Vatican styled St. Peter's Basilica that they are building.
Mm.
The TLVP.
Yeah. But that's one of the problems I'm having right now is like Elon Musk, and like I'm trying to make the model myself in my head. I just want to understand, but like Elon Musk, those Starlink satellites he just put up in space, like I saw those in the sky once, and they just freaked the heck out of me, scared the hell out of me, and I can't wrap my head around a flat Earth, but also seeing those satellites in the sky.
Yeah, well, Elon Musk is limited by stupidity.
What's limited by stupidity?
Elon Musk is not limited by stupidity.
What does that mean?
He has a clarity of mind that seems to enable him to go from here to there without getting bogged down in bureaucracy.
So you think he's on the quote unquote good side?
He's what?
You think he's on the quote unquote good side?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And truth, he speaks the truth. And it doesn't matter if it's material truth, spiritual truth, relative truth, whatever. If you're speaking the truth, you're on the side of the good guys. And if you live a complicated situation where you're trying to sneak money out of programs that are designed for something else, the way the Democrats are doing, that's not good. That's not the side of the angels at all.
Makes sense. Thank you, Prabhu.
No, I think he's a good guy. I mean, who knows? I don't think he's a vegetarian, or maybe he is. Who knows? But I think he's headed in the right direction. And although he's read all sorts of spiritual books, quite possibly the Bhagavad Gita as it is, he needs to come now to the platform of understanding Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because it will fit perfect. Prabhupada's philosophy, properly instructed, will teach him, he will give him exactly the vision that he is looking for.
Nice to hear. That's all I had to comment for now.
And if he finds out that Mars is populated already, it may slow him down trying to colonize Mars. Populated by Martians, believe it or not. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, so anyone have any more questions here or comments they can share? Mark from Vrindavan, anything you'd like to say, Prabhu?
No questions.
Okay, so
Are we going further or staying with here, or what are we doing?
let's see, hold on. Well, if people have any questions online, let me check. Hold on. Oh, Facebook and YouTube. 1 second. Okay.
We're more than halfway through it, aren't we?
We're done. We read the whole thing.
We read through the entire thing?
Yes.
Really? What was the last few words?
Last few words was, 1 second. Last few words was, think about it. Saying whereby
Yeah.
each person initiated becomes a bona fide Prabhupada disciple. Isn't that what you want? Wish for your family and friends? Think about it.
Uh-huh. I didn't remember seeing that read, but anyhow. Nice.
Yeah. Jai. Okay. Let me see if there's any comments on our Facebook. Okay, so there's some comments on Facebook. So let me put it on the screen and then we'll read it out.
Jai.
All right, let's see here. 1, 2, 3. 1 second. Share screen. Okay. I will here, we'll read this one first. Why should not be a lot? Why should, what does he say here? Why should not be launch a worldwide movement to establish our Prabhupada as initiating spiritual master and bring him to his real position in front of the world? Okay, that's a comment. It seems very wishful thinking to hope Elon Musk will be a power of good, especially regarding preservation of Srila Prabhupada Kirtans, when it is up to every man, jack of us, to purify ourselves for Kirtan. Christopher made a comment.
Oh, Jai.
And then Christopher asked the question, is there any connection between Elon Musk and Krishna consciousness? Elon may seem to speak some truth, but I have heard he is behind some very nefarious programs and agendas. And Moses Prabhu says, Haribol, peace and blessings. Aristo Prabhu is saying, Hare Krishna. And Rob B is asking how to get rid of bad karma. First question. And what is Dharma?
Are you sure that we read the whole thing?
Yes.
I didn't hear the raw parts being read.
Okay. So he says, what is Dharma? Well, if you read Bhagavad Gita, it talks about what is Dharma. To serve Krishna, that's Dharma. Put it based, in one sentence. And how to get rid of bad karma? How does one get rid of bad karma?
By chanting Hare Krishna, of course.
Yeah, surrender to Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. Rob says, thank you. All right. So let's see if there's any more comments here. Okay. All right, so let me check here. Facebook, 1 second. So anyone watching online on Facebook, they can make a comment, ask a question, share their realization, or if we have said something wrong, they can also correct us. So feel free to message us, put it in the chat, and we'll read it. Even criticisms, we'll read it. All right, let's see. Okay. That's about it. Okay, I just rechecked everything you sent, so that's about it. We read the whole thing, Narayan Prabhu.
That's really interesting because I didn't hear the last part.
Maybe we can read the last part again.
Okay, we can read the last part again. Sure. Let me load it back up again, Prabhu. Okay,
How about starting with my vision for the future?
hold on. Let me load it up. 1 second. My vision for the future. Okay.
That's the last chunk. Oh no, it's second to the last chunk.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what it is. So go ahead. Whatever you think is right.
Well, we read the my vision part already, so we can reread it. 1 second. So we're back to the document. So my vision starts. Okay, who wants to read?
Okay. Rupa, can you read?
How about Jagannath Das read?
Yes, sure.
My vision for the future is based on the availability of pure Vedic Dharma descending directly from Krishna Loka. Searching for the source of such Dharma leads us to Sri Krishna's transparent via medium, who under Lord Krishna's personal representative created ISKCON, and then created so many transcendental kirtans that when heard and then repeated, reveal the glories of Krishna and Krishna Loka to anyone who takes up the process of hearing his transcendental sound vibration via wearing headphones for direct and undistracted absorption. Such hearers of the true Krishna Loka sound vibration, Shravanam, will then be able to hold temple kirtanam, that exactly duplicate the experience of hearing Srila Prabhupada directly. In fact, the separation of so many decades will give the hearing process a new life, as we did not listen to him very well when we chanted with him in 1968 and 1969. With each simple, sincere, and genuine devotee hearing as described above, when groups of these devotees would then go out in the streets playing his Aditala Mridanga beats, learn from his recordings, kartal playing, dancing the heart, enhancing Swami step, we will see our austerity of learning by tape pay off, as our Sankirtan parties will flood the streets and parks with loudly rendered melodies brought straight from Krishna Loka via Srila Prabhupada's recorded voice. Imagine the effect of such condensed kirtan being released in the world of human society. So many college students and those who live aimlessly on the streets will follow us back to the temple, as they did in 1967, 68, and 69. And our ISKCON temples will grow by possibly dozens of sincere neophytes over the space of a few months. That phenomenon outlined above, multiplied by dozens and increasingly more, temples will indeed re-establish the Hare Krishna explosion. The bogus gurus can continue their futile efforts that will be doomed in their lifetimes, or even sooner, by our Srila Prabhupada-led Nagar Sankirtan effort, with his own Krishna Loka melodies brought down by Lord Krishna himself for us to use endlessly over the next 10,000 years. How else can pure chanting the Hare Krishna mantra be assured for even 500 years, what to speak of 10?
Right.
What does Nagar mean? Nagar Sankirtan.
Public.
So you said,
Nagar means streets.
okay.
Yeah. Let's see how Srila Prabhupada uses. Where is it? Nagar. Where is it? Nagar.
When we say Nagar Sankirtan, we mean chanting in the streets.
Okay. You said you wrote that the devotees weren't listening well in 1968, 1969?
They never listened well.
Not really. When Prabhupada led a kirtan, his head was just swimming with his own ideas. and everybody just accepted Prabhupada for granted, right? But after decades have gone by, when we hear Prabhupada now, it's each little bit is precious. And so we'll see it differently and treat it as precious and make it wonderful when we replicate it. In other words, if gold is lying around on the streets, people will not pay much attention to it. But once the gold is gathered and it's kept in a very special place, people will become very respectful when they see that gold.
So here's what Srila Prabhupada says what Nagar means. Nagar means towns, and Gram means villages or county.
What does it mean?
Nagar means towns, and Grama means village or county. So he said,
Nagar means what?
can you see the screen up here?
Oh, sorry.
Nagar means towns.
I didn't know that. Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what
So it
else.
doesn't mean chanting through the streets, it means chanting through the towns.
Yes.
Jai.
Okay.
And
That's
our
that.
wishes are come true.
So Jagannath Prabhu, do you have this program called the Bhaktivedanta Database? This is an excellent program to research Prabhupada's books, letters, conversations. I just want to show it to you if you don't have it. You know,
Is it the same as like PrabhupadaBooks.com? Is that
No.
the same thing?
No, it's not the same thing. Here you can search for stuff that is not on PrabhupadaBooks.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you want to, like, you can see the contents here. Some of the books have been changed, but still, it's a very good resource to reference and cross-check and make sure that it is in the compendium, you know,
Very
whatever
nice.
they're talking about. Who said it, when was it said, and the whole conversation here.
Thank you.
So I'll send it to you if you don't have it. Just send me a message.
Okay.
Jai.
Okay. Yeah, we want to empower everyone to have all the tools for success in spiritual life, you know,
Exactly.
nothing held back here. That's why we're having this open discussion.
The tools are there. The
Yeah.
tools are simple, but they're precise.
Exactly.
And the edges of the blades of the tools are like a surgeon's knife. Very, very precise, very, very sharp. So
Right.
when we take that only, it doesn't take very much to make a great success globally. But when we try to spread it all over the place and chant this way and that way and another way, then you spend so much time, so much money, so much effort, and nothing much results from it.
Yeah.
So are we continuing?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not in charge.
Okay, let me share some more comments from devotees online.
Yeah.
1 second. Share screen. Rob, you said I'm still reading that book. Very inspiring. I'd like to know what book are you talking about, Rob? And then there's a devotee named Yamuneshwara Krishnadas. I'm looking forward to do my PhD research on Prabhupada. Can you please guide me?
John.
And then Christopher is saying, I would recommend many of his disciples' books on him, and their feelings when in his presence is very profound. This is Christopher replying to Krishnadas. And then Christopher Prabhu is saying, I recommended book is by Dina Taryarani Devi Dasi, entitled Yamuna, A Life of Unalloyed Devotion. She had many intimate and deep experiences in the presence of Srila Prabhupada,
Who wrote it?
It's saying,
Dina Tarini.
Oh, Dina Tarin.
This was the book about Yamuna.
About what?
About Yamuna Devi.
I can't hear you.
About Yamuna Devi.
Oh, Dina Tarani, yeah, Jamuna's partner.
Yeah. Okay. And then Christopher is saying, each little bit is precious. R.E. Prabhupada, this does seem to be Yamuna's mood, a very rare mood. I recently finished reading those two books, so it is why I'm mentioning it here. Thank you so much, Prabhu. The one you helped me get, Dialectic Spiritualism. Okay. Sounds good, Rob Prabhu. I'm glad you
This
like
is
that
the right
book.
mood, you know.
Yeah.
People out thanking us for something genuine is wonderful. People thanking us for patting them on the head or giving them something special, that's not wonderful. This is what is wonderful. Recognition for what is genuine
Okay.
by a person who has a genuine feeling for it.
Yeah.
Did we
Okay.
finish reading the thing, the document?
Yeah, we finished that part. You want to go over it again?
No. But I thought that there was still some one section left.
Okay, we'll read it one more time. 1 second.
5,000 years.
Okay, we'll complete it. 1 second. Let's see.
I don't think there's any limit to the number of times you can read it, because how long will it take before people really get it? You know,
Probably another 10,000 years.
something approximately like that.
Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Jagannath Prabhu, you can read. Okay, Prabhu, is that all right?
Sure.
Okay. Excellent. Here we go. 1 second, Prabhu. Let me just. Okay.
5,000 years. What to speak of the full 10,000 years of the golden age of Kali? These bogus gurus are chanting most of their own concocted melodies, but whoever listens to them will not get the connection to Krishna Loka that will result from humbly accepting headphones and then chanting exactly as heard on Srila Prabhupada's recording. It seems increasingly likely that Srila Prabhupada knew from the start that no one would emulate his exact kirtan style, and that they would try to establish their own dominance zone with their own bogus kirtans. So he left his recordings for us to use for the next 10,000 years. We need to call on Elon Musk to create a recording capsule that will last for the entire length of the golden age of Kali. Did Srila Prabhupada know from the first that his recordings would someday be seen as the only direct means of reaching Krishna Loka? And by chanting these melodies exclusively, that the next 10,000 years will hear the descended sound vibration coming from Lord Krishna's Swarup down to Srila Prabhupada's mouth that directly open the door to Krishna Loka for all of us over the next 10,000 years? And what will happen to the present bogus guru configuration? Well, it cannot help but fail. The bogus gurus cannot produce kirtans that will connect even the most sincere chanter with Krishna Loka. Instead of heroically trying to take on the karma of millions and millions of humans and other jivas, the bogus gurus should instead become officiating acharyas, transferring the karma of those they deliver to Srila Prabhupada. The resulting initiates will become Prabhupada disciples, but so what? They will go back to Godhead, and so will we. Why get stuck with the hellish outcome of the bogus guru process that will lead the bogus guru to hell of the karma that he accepts from each and every person that he initiates? Beyond foolish, beyond insane. Srila Prabhupada has given the benediction of officiating acharya, whereby each person initiate becomes a bona fide Srila Prabhupada disciple. Isn't that what you would wish for your family and friends? Think about it.
Jai.
Try, yes. Wonderful. And this is, the corporate policy that they have set up is in deep trouble, at least here in Sacramento. I see that there's various groups of disciples of the insufficient gurus, and whatever they do, Prabhupada is not in the center, and
Yeah.
that is very problematic for me.
And the
And-
problem that we can detect is that when you talk about it, instead of being joyful, blissful, encouraging, and happy, you sound distressed, bitter, and sort of miserable.
Yeah,
So why should Krishna consciousness, genuine Krishna consciousness, produce a symptom of misery and unhappiness in those who hear about the chanters?
yeah.
And
So-
frustration on top of it.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Yeah. And because they don't have open-ended discussions, and we have invited them for personal discussions, meaning that, okay, let's share and make the movement better, but therefore a corporate policy.
So we don't need to worry about them. You know something? You know why they don't want to come and talk to us?
because
They're
it will,
having fun. They're having fun. They like doing things their own way. So let them do things their own way, but let them do them at a distance. And then we will take over the ISKCON temples with people studying Prabhupada's kirtan through his headphones.
Jai.
And when people study through Prabhupada's headphones, they will understand the direct transcendental sound vibration. I mean, how many people would love to have a recording of Lord Krishna speaking? I mean,
Millions
can you
and
even imagine?
yeah,
Or how many people would like a recording of Lord Chaitanya chanting? Wouldn't that be nice? Yep. Can you imagine a recording of Lord Chaitanya chanting?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, but wouldn't people then say, oh, no, he's dead and gone and blah, 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 and then we have to do it our way?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
If they did that, we could smash them on the head with a baseball bat. But in the case of Prabhupada, Prabhupada, he's like the ex-former guru. But why is that different? Why shouldn't we consider that hearing Prabhupada chanting is as exciting and as exhilarating and as genuine as hearing Lord Chaitanya chanting? You know what I mean? What if we
Definitely.
had a recording of Lord Chaitanya? Lord Rupa Manjari was so excited just by the thought, as am I. So why do we consider that a recording of Prabhupada chanting is less transcendental? What if we heard a recording of Krishna chanting? Wouldn't we consider that fantastic? Or would we say, oh, that was 5,000 years ago, we don't want to know about it? You see what I'm saying?
I think
Hello,
we can take Srila Prabhupada's example as what they would sound like if we were to hear them.
Exactly. Prabhupada's chanting gives us the clearest view of what it's like to hear chanting in Krishna Loka. I mean, where else would he be chanting from? Calcutta? Bombay? San Francisco? Is that where his kirtans came from? Or was he chanting spiritually? If he was not chanting spiritually, then what on earth is the meaning of the entire Krishna consciousness movement?
Okay, so I'd like to share this video here because we want to
And
talk.
who is that?
This is Ishan Prabhu talking about the chanting.
Ishana. We haven't talked to Ishana at all, have we?
Yeah, so he's talking about kirtan. So let's hear what Prabhu has to say about kirtan and the concoction of kirtan.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhu.
Our people are so inclined to be impressed with the local people in India and all their different ways of doing things and their ways of singing and their ways of antics and whatnot. So people were changing the way Srila Prabhupada, he's the Acharya, he sings in a certain way. He sings Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Panchatattva, then Hare Krishna, and he in a certain mood and building slowly, coming to a climax, finished, boss. All of a sudden we're singing like local people. All of a sudden we're doing everything under the sun that he never did. Even today it's going on. I see, but I don't say. But so they would be changing things in the temple room, singing in different ways. And Srila Prabhupada was on the 3rd floor, I believe. He would go from his room out. The building was under construction. There was no barrier around the porches, or just plain slabs. Srila Prabhupada would go out, and I got and some instruction on that slab. Srila Prabhupada would go out and he'd go down to Bhavananda's room and say, "What are they singing?" And because they're changing then this would go on, and Bhavananda was getting unsettled, because this was very disturbing. Srila Prabhupada was very disturbed. And one night I led kirtan in the temple room downstairs. And I like...
back in Mayapur now.
Yeah, I like the way Srila Prabhupada sings. I'm not enamored by some whatever village, whatever. He's a pure devotee, he's an Acharya, and he's my spiritual master, and nobody else impresses me. No matter how musical they are, or how they stretch, Bhaktivedanta didn't even let them play musical instruments because they're so egotistical. We're being very melodious, this, that. So I lead kirtan again. Only I'm leading the way I'm trying to follow. I like the way Srila Prabhupada sings. So I tried to sing in the same mood. That's what Krishna consciousness means to me. So again, Srila Prabhupada leaves his room, he goes to Bhavananda's room and says, "Who's leading that kirtan?" He says, "That's Ishan." Srila Prabhupada, he tries to sing the way you sing. Srila Prabhupada says to Bhavananda, "He's intelligent. He should only lead kirtan here." Srila Prabhupada can dance in ecstasy, he can chant in ecstasy, he can display all the symptoms of ecstasy, but whatever he's giving us is for as the Acharya, he's giving us something that we should follow. He's not doing it for his entertainment. He's giving us, but they're missing that point, of course. Sometimes, some people. So I thought people should know that Srila Prabhupada liked if somebody took up his style of kirtan and tried to follow him. And my only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the sound vibration emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection. Okay, so let's do that a little bit.
Okay, there you go.
He said he's more intelligent.
That was really nice to hear. Thank you, Prabhu.
So Srila Prabhupada was tormented by the kirtans that they were doing.
Yeah, this is not...
When Ishan came along and chanted, he was very happy.
Yeah, so this is not just Narayan Prabhu making things up. This is confirmed by Ishan Prabhu from...
Well, it's not Narayan making things, it's Ishan making things up.
And this has been confirmed by several other devotees also, that how
Yes.
devotees were making things up, taking the village style and making it as singing it in Prabhupada's temples, which Prabhupada did not want, and it's not authorized.
Yeah, well, I've mentioned it before. I'll mention it quickly again, that there was a kirtan in Ahmedabad, a Pandal program back in 1974, I think. I was there with Jai Tirtha. And Prabhupada finished his lecture, and for some reason, nobody was storming forward to grab the microphone and the instruments. And I had a mridanga. So I led a kirtan that actually caught on with the people in the pandal, and they all began to chant. The amplification was on. We chanted Prabhupada melody. Why would that be surprising? I've chanted Prabhupada melody. And I chanted it, and it built up very nicely, and all the Gujaratis were chanting very nicely in that mood, and a few devotees that were still around chanted in that mood. And when I finished, I stopped. And then the mridanga, I was ready to put it somewhere. And a devotee rushed up to Srila Prabhupada's Vyasasan, a young man. His eyes were wide open, and his hands were in front of him. And he said, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, that was a great kirtan." And Srila Prabhupada, it was his melody, of course. So Srila Prabhupada was stepping down from the Vyasasan. He looked over at me grandly and said, "Yes." So, where's the mystery? So we can understand that anybody who doesn't chant like Prabhupada was offending Prabhupada.
Try. Let's see if there's any more comments or questions. People can make a comment. Jagannath Prabhu, and what's that?
I didn't mean to tell the story to puff myself up or to even compare myself to Ishan, but I did want to contribute that it was exactly the same reaction.
Try. Okay. Let's see here. There's a question by Christopher. Has there been a sound recording of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? I saw a silent movie of him about 10 seconds, but that is all. Well, I've not heard any recordings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, audio recordings, but I've seen that recording of the video of 10 seconds. So I don't know.
Did he exist before tape recordings?
That's a good question. Tape recordings became available in the 1900s, right? No, probably after 1900s, probably in the 1920s. Well, let me do a research. 1 second. Okay, let me see. I don't see anything.
So there'd be benefit, like I keep having this vision of an ice cream truck going down the road, but instead of ice cream music, there's just the Srila Prabhupada Kirtan. There'd be benefit to that.
Yeah, definitely. Instead of having an ice cream truck, have Prabhupada's Kirtan playing, right?
I think at that time they were making like regular 78 RPM records and stuff like that. I don't know if they had any tape recordings at that time. I don't know when tape recordings first came out.
The video of Bhaktisiddhanta is on YouTube?
Yeah, just about 10 seconds. They say it's Bhaktisiddhanta, but it might be made up, or maybe it is a real video. I don't know. It's him speaking, sitting down and speaking, so. Okay, so there's no more comments online or on Facebook. So anything here from our devotees? Let me check on Facebook. Well, I think we covered a lot of ground today about the kirtan and the standard that Srila Prabhupada wanted, which is his standard, not the standard of the village boy. Okay. So no more comments, Narayan Prabhu. Should we end it? Or
Well, it's only 9:30.
yeah.
I wouldn't say so. We should always end at 10. Well, I mean, you mean we're here. Does anyone want to discuss any of the material that was read? Do they want to discuss any of the points? Do they have any disagreements, or do they have any profound agreements? What sort of thing is it? You know what I mean? It's not just that we read that thing and da-di-da-di-da, we read it, but there's a lot in that to understand. So I was wondering if anyone wanted clarification.
I'm curious about when you said bring them back to the temples. Are these temples we're creating? Are they temples we're slowly taking over? What does that mean? When you said lead kirtans through the streets and then bring them back to the temples.
Oh, yeah, because, back in 1968, 69, when Vishnu John and I would each take out Sankirtan parties, when we came back to the temple, there'd usually be a few stray people that wanted to come back with us and join the temple.
Very nice. But now it just feels so disconnected.
Now they just go out and they wiggle their butts at the crowd, and that's about it. They stand facing each other, wiggling around, which looks like they're trying to wiggle their butts at the crowd. Which I don't think is very respectful to the crowd.
So you're saying that transition happens slowly through each of us devotees, and then a temple would be transformed.
Well, the main transition occurred when Rameshwar took the word Sankirtan to mean book distribution. He became fanatical about book distribution, so that's wonderful, book distribution, but he took the word Sankirtan to mean book distribution. So then they said, when you go out on Sankirtan, it's called Harinam, which simply means holy name. And there was no enthusiasm behind it anymore. We used to have wonderful kirtan parties, and we would distribute Back to Godhead magazine, and we distribute incense and prasadam and stuff like that out on the streets. But that's when it was called Sankirtan, and that's when it was Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy name. Rameshwar wanted to change book distribution to mean Sankirtan because in the morning at the temple, when they were reciting, they said, "Oh, glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtan," then all the book distributors would pound on their mridangas heavily. They all have mridangas, and they'd all pound on them heavily, so that Sankirtan meant book distribution. And Rameshwar had some scope for that. That Bhaktivedanta Thakur said that the Brihat Mridanga, or the big Mridanga, was book distribution. But at the same time, Rameshwar deliberately wanted everyone to distribute books and did not want anyone to go out and simply chant without distributing books. So that fanaticism or craziness or whatever it was, even if it benefited, it produced the sale of thousands of books for years. But now it simply means that nobody goes out and chants on Sankirtan because all the Sankirtan devotees go out individually selling books. So it needs to be restored. Sankirtan needs to be Sankirtan party, and that means people chanting through the streets. And why not? And you can see so many pictures from the 1960s of devotees chanting through the streets. Have you not seen?
I've seen, yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So that needs to be done again to have everyone chanting in groups. We used to go through the streets, what I thought was Nagar Sankirtan, as I mistakenly said, I thought it meant, chanting in the streets. What we used to do on Nagar Sankirtan in the towns, of course, is we would walk in pairs down the sidewalk with the kirtan leaders at the front and then the kartals, then everybody behind chanting. And we would walk down the street that way, chanting Hare Krishna. And it was very, 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 very electrifying. And then we would come to some space, like in front of a public building or something, then we'd spread out in rows and chant Hare Krishna while dancing the Swami step repeatedly, so that the devotees were all chanting in harmony, dancing in harmony. Like they would all, their left legs would cross at the same time, the right legs would cross at the same time. So it was very wonderful to watch and very wonderful to hear. Then you'd have myself and Mr. John leading a very strong kirtan, and that made people very excited. And as a result, people wanted to join, and they would join that very night. They'd ask if they could come back, and we said, sure, why not? Any other question?
Not from me, no.
Jai. So Ramachandra, any other question, any other comments come floating in?
Okay, let me just check one more time now. Let's see. No,
Not yet.
not yet. Okay. See here.
So I think you're emphasizing Sankirtan so much because it can just hit so many more ears versus like putting so much time into a book or a YouTube video. People might not even click on that or see that.
Well, Sankirtan means chanting in the streets. If you, when we used to have people out during the day, during the night, on Sankirtan in Los Angeles or all over the country, in Pittsburgh also, I was there. We would go out between 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning after breakfast and morning program and everything like that. We'd go out at 10 o'clock in the morning and we would chant until 4 in the afternoon. Then we'd come back to the temple, take dinner prasadam, and count up the money that we'd made and discuss how many books we'd sold or magazines we'd sold. And then at 8 o'clock at night, we'd go out again and chant until midnight.
That's really long. You didn't feel tired, Prabhu?
I'm sorry?
You didn't feel tired? That's so long.
We felt exhilarated. Because remember, we weren't just working with pickaxes, moving rocks. We were chanting the holy name of Krishna.
Jai.
And it became very, very popular all over the place, all over the world. I remember I was traveling either in or out of London, and one of the girls behind the counter saw that we were dressed like devotees and said, "Excuse me, may I ask a question?" And we said, "Sure, why not?" "Why aren't you out chanting in the streets anymore? We so much liked it. We thought it was so wonderful." And I thought that so many people in England didn't like what we were doing. So we sort of stopped. He said, "Oh, no." What was it? She said, "No, it was It was, she said something like, it was like part of the accepted background of city life in London, that everyone accepted it. So sure, there may have been a few people that criticized, but for the most part, people loved it.
That's very nice to hear.
Yeah, and why not? I spent many years either going out on Sankirtan or leading Sankirtan, or both, because we used to take turns leading the Sankirtan.
I had an opposite experience. I was maybe three years ago. I was in Seattle and I was at a park, and some devotees came and were chanting in the park. I was really enjoying it, but then I heard some couple walking by, and a guy said, "Oh, these people are still a thing." That comment just made me very mad.
Okay, Prabhu, so if there's not any questions or comments, then I'll end it here. We got about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So we'll have an early shutdown. So thank you to all the devotees for joining and participating. Please join us again on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll start about same time, 8 o'clock California time. Thank you, Prabhus. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.